Back to yet another live stream, part 10 of my horror Blu-ray collection overview. Today we're going to be taking a look at my found footage horror Blu-rays, as well as my Japanese, Korean, and Hong Kong. Italian starts on this shelf, but I think we're going to save Italian, kaiju, and found footage for the very last part, which will be part 11. And so, with that said, I just want to say thank you to anyone who tunes into this live stream, either while it's live streaming or on the rebound, on the archive. I thank you very much. Feel free to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoy these live streams and want to see more like it. There will be plenty, so hit that thumbs up. It helps me with the algorithm, which I'm not very algorithmically friendly. They don't like the stuff I talk about, so I don't get, pushed up anywhere. What's up, Misung? Thank you so much for tuning in. I love horror too. If you love found footage and East Asian horror, you will love some of the stuff I've got for today. So without further ado, again, if you enjoy these live streams, hit the subscribe button, the little bell for notifications, and hit that thumbs up. So, anyway, we are going to start the horror collection overview. I've got my trusty milk crate here. And there's a lot more light up there than there is down here, so you're going to have to forgive me. Hopefully, it doesn't look too bad. What's up, Mr. Rosa? What's up, Jolly Good? It's not the final part, Jolly Good. This is the second to final part. We're doing this shelf today. This shelf will be probably Thursday, but we shall see. All right, without further ado, guys, let's, as we usually do, we're going to look at the ones up top first, which actually may or may not be where they belong. These actually seem like they are. All right, so first up, and we did talk about, what's that, Zombieland and Zombieland Double Tap last time, so that's where we left off. All right, so Legend of Boggy Creek. This is really one of the early mockumentaries, especially in the horror genre. This was played straight, and it seems unique because of how straight it is played. This is I suppose it wasn't billed as a mockumentary. Let's see what it says. Top grossing docudramas of all time. So it's a classic film, now fully restored. This remarkable true story is the first full-length feature on subject on the Bigfoot. I guess I don't really know what this is. I think it's a Blair Witch style found footage film. I feel like I've seen this, but it's been at least 20 years if I have. I need to rewatch it. What a great cover, by the way. Look at the setting, hazy sun there, and this bestial creature coming at you. It's awesome. So I need to either rewatch that or watch it for the first time. I forget, if I'm being honest. I want to say it's a mockumentary, though, but it was made at a time where that wasn't really a thing. Here we have The Last Exorcism Part 2. I guess I will talk about The Last Exorcism at some point, or maybe not. Maybe I won't, because I thought I had it. Oh, I think it's in one of those sets that I have, one of those triple feature sets. I like the first Last Exorcism. It was a good possession, found footage horror film which rests on the lead performance by the little girl. I thought she was fantastic, or teenage girl, I should say. This one I haven't seen, and I don't know much about, but hopefully, what a silly cover. Isn't that such a silly thing? Here we have a killer, no pun intended, horror found footage movie, which basically traces the story of Jim Jones in the Guyanese jungle, where he tried to create this pseudo-communistic, pseudo-evangelical commune, essentially. And then, of course, it ends with everybody drinking the Kool-Aid, quote-unquote. It actually wasn't Kool-Aid. It was like Rite Aid or something like that. It was like a knockoff brand of Kool-Aid because Jim Jones was too cheap to kill off all of his followers with real Kool-Aid. It's a horrible, horrible story. I've read books about it. It's awful. It's the worst things that power can produce. And a lot of people lost their lives that day. And it's an absolute horror show. It's some of the most terrible humanistic history. Anyway. This is a movie that basically follows the same beats down to where they are. The name of the place is very similar. This guy kind of looks like Jim Jones, kind of acts like him. He's got the big shades. So they ripped the story off. They, instead of, paying the rights to tell the story of Jim Jones or whatever, they went their own route and kind of the way that The Master did with PTA's The Master, which is basically about Dianetics and L. Ron Hubbard, but never really states it. It's kind of a parallel thing. Anyway, Sacrament is super chilling, very disturbing. The last 20 minutes will absolutely fuck you up. It's messed up stuff, but it's very effective for what it is. And as somebody who's interested in cults and what makes people do the things that they do and be so susceptible, even smart people, to some of these charismatic leaders, it's something that interests me from on an intellectual level. So it doesn't really delve into that. It just gives you like you were on the ground at the Jim Jones compound. That's what it feels like. It's terrifying. And it is Ty West. So this is the Ty West that I know and love. X was not my favorite thing that he's done. Not my least favorite thing in the world, but I love Ty West's old films quite a bit, especially House of the Devil. Here we have Kinji Fukasaku's Battle Royale, which I just recently rewatched, and I didn't like it the first time around, but the second time around, I just think it's brilliant. I think it's fantastic. Some of the CG gore I could do without, but the plot is just so interesting. You have 42 kids on this island being forced to fight to the death, tooth and nail, in this dystopian future. And what I love about this is the counter of the dead kids. Like, every time kids die, pretty much every scene, kids die. And the counter just keeps going, dwindling until they're, well, I won't spoil it, but yeah, check this movie out. It's awesome. It's unique. I should say it was unique for the time until Hunger Games, an entire young adult series, ripped it off and made it, sanitized it, saccharinized it, and made it worse. Here we have Final. I'm just kidding. It's One Missed Call. The only word in English on the cover is final, but I went with the Japanese cover. It also has the newly commissioned American artwork, but these are actually One Missed Call here, the trilogy. So you have One Missed Call, 1, 2, and Final. So, Yadi, that says. I'm trying to read it. Sorry, guys. But yeah, this is I love the first film. I actually haven't seen the second and third films. The first film is probably my favorite Takashi Miike film. I know that's insane because this is his most mainstream and less weird films that he's made. I don't know what it is about that filmmaker. I just can't really get into his movies. Mostly miss for me, or middling. But I really like the American. It's inspired by American slashers for sure, with the Japanese edge of technological horror. And One Missed Call is a lot of fun. Here we have, we're doing Italian, a couple East Asian or Japanese horror films here. But we have The Cat o' Nine Tails, Dario Argento, this really nice Region B special edition Blu-ray of it, Il Gatto a Nove Code. So that is Italian for The Cat o' Nine Tails, I would imagine. Code. Tails, yeah. Dario Argento, of course. This one, have I seen Cat o' Nine Tails? I don't think I have. There's a couple of his films like Cat o' Nine Tails and Four Flies on Grey Velvet that I am savoring. I have yet to see them, so can't really speak on it. Ow, my ass hurts from this frickin' milk crate. The things I do for all of you. No, I'm just kidding. I love it. All right, I love the pain in my ass right now, literally. Afflicted. All right, so we're getting into the found footage horror stuff, guys, right here, which I have a few of. As you guys know, I'm a bit of a fan of found footage horror. Actually, the video on my channel that has done the best by far is my 50 found footage horror films ranked, which continuously gets views every October. It shoots up in views, and I'm very grateful for that. It's awesome. And so, yeah, with that said, I have a bunch of found footage films. Most of these I've seen, I feel like. Afflicted is awesome. I don't want to say what it's about because I feel like I didn't know when I went into it, and it was a nice surprise. I'll just say these two are vacationing in, Romania, Eastern Europe, we'll say. and Eastern European countries. And it's kind of a travelogue found footage film with the horror in increasingly heavy doses. This is a really cool film. Again, I can't speak too much about it without spoiling it, but Afflicted gives you a nice clue. Afflicted is a really solid found footage horror film. Check it out, guys. Good performances around. Here we have Antrum. This one I've yet to see. I love the 70s inspired look here. And I hear the film is very 70s inspired. It's about a couple kids who stumble upon a haunted film or something, a cursed film from the 70s. Sounds really cool to me. I think part of this is kind of found footage and the other part is narrative. Can't really say. I've not seen it, so. Apartment 143. I've never seen this one. Emergo. Is this a Spanish film? Yeah, nope. It's in English. Charles Torrens. The climax is a nicely orchestrated bit of mayhem. I've yet to see this, guys. I know nothing about it, so can't really speak about it. Apollo 18. A lot of people gave me shit for not liking this film. This film was number 50 on my found footage films of all time. I think it was. It was close to the bottom of the list. I don't know. The constant, what's the word? Unrelenting filters that are on every shot of this movie, the stupid like VHS filters and the screen tearing, and there's always something going on with some sort of stupid filter in this film, and it just drives me crazy. And so visually the film drives me nuts. The story is cool. I mean, I like the idea of these guys in the 70s getting, Apollo 17, weird things start happening. It's a cool idea. But or Apollo 18 after Apollo 17. It's a cool idea. And it's just ruined by just not very good direction. It just, the constant unrelenting movie filters and crap that they overlay over every single shot, it just drives me nuts by the end. This is another one that I got a lot of shit for in that video and continue to, almost on a monthly basis. Because this one was pretty low on my list. I have since rewatched it. It has moved up a little bit, but I certainly don't think this is a great horror, found footage horror film. A lot of people disagree with me. Some of you guys probably do. It's cool. It's like Indiana Jones meets horror meets found footage. You'd think I would love it, but I just think it's all right. The ending is killer. The ending always flips my wig, but no pun intended. It's a really interesting ending. I just wish the film had a little bit more teeth throughout the runtime. There's just not many memorable scenes. The characters are forgettable. And great cover, cool idea about the catacombs of under Paris, I think it is. But didn't love it. I still enjoy it for what it is, though. Atticus Institute. This one I remember having a really good performance by the lead character here. I guess her name is Raya Kilstead. She plays the possessed, and it's like somebody... Yeah, in the 70s, the government's like testing people for ESP and all these sorts of things, and then possession starts happening, or does it, and this chick kind of is trying to deal with it. Pretty cool found footage film, not bad. Here we have Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. This is a hilarious found footage slasher parody. And very, very funny movie that knows exactly what it's deconstructing and does it very well. There's some so the film follows a young woman who is trying to make a documentary about a real-life Jason-like serial killer. And she's wondering, she asks him questions like, how do you keep up? How do you always catch up with all these young kids running away? And he's like, oh, I take care of myself. Good cardio. It just pokes holes in all of the franchise slasher films, and it is a ton of fun in its own right. Zelda Rubinstein pops up here, Scott Wilson, Robert Englund, bunch of old veteran actors. It really is a fun movie and an homage to all the films that we grew up watching. Here we have the classic of all time, one of my favorite flicks of all time, The Blair Witch Project. I know a lot of people, this is a hit or miss film. I totally get it. When I was 13, my parents rented this movie, or when I was 12 or 13. Well, maybe 11 or 12. They rented this movie. No, I was probably 12. And I was convinced, just like they were, that this was a documentary. This was a real thing that we were watching. And I always say either my parents didn't know any better, which I lean towards, because it was a more innocent time, or they were trying to trick me, which my parents didn't do stuff like that normally. So I think they really thought this was real, and then they learned shortly thereafter that it wasn't. But to kind of maintain the illusion, they never told me. I don't know. So the aura surrounding this film for me is so powerful. And I watched it. I remember watching it, and I remember sleeping on my parents' floor for the next 3 nights because this movie scared the shit out of me, especially the last scene in the cabin with the kids. It's just a terrifying movie that never shows you anything. No monster, no blood, just psychological human terror of people overreacting or underreacting, getting lost in the woods. The supernaturalistic and organic performances by the 3 lead characters here really elevates this found footage film to one of the best of all time, despite it being the one that broke ground. Myrick and Sanchez would go on to be directors in their own right. I'm more of a Sanchez film. I don't think either of them are fantastic horror filmmakers. I think Sanchez is a pretty good one, and Myrick is an average horror filmmaker from what I've seen. But yeah, The Blair Witch Project, I adore. I think it's a great film. Let's see. Mr. POTF, absolutely love The Sacrament. Yes, The Sacrament it gets under your skin for sure. Shanks says, what's up? What's going on, Shanks? Thanks for tuning in. Here we have Blair Witch. I remember watching this and not hating it. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I thought it was fun. It starts messing with time and all sorts of things, sort of that the video game does. This feels more like the video game than anything else. I think they were released around the same time. Adam Wingard put this movie out. I think Adam Wingard is an above-average horror filmmaker. His movies are like 3 or 3.5 usually for me, and now he's caught up doing Godzilla films for Hollywood. Not great Godzilla films either. But this is a pretty fun found footage film that ups the ante. You got a lot more characters going out into the woods to try to find the Blair Witch, and they sure do. It gets really trippy, too, with some of the sequences. I like it. It's fun. Here we have Cannibal Holocaust, a film put out by Code Red that I'm very happy to have in a deluxe edition. And this one, I like this film. I think it's pretty good. It's half narrative, half found footage about a group of ethnologists or whatever it is, filmmakers that go out and try to document the flesh eaters of South America, some tribe, cannibalistic tribe, and they get more than they bargained for, as you could tell from the cover, which I'm not sure if I'm supposed to show because boobies. This one is hard for me to watch because they actually kill real animals and lots of them, including a monkey, which is totally unforgivable to do for a film. Let alone a turtle and all sorts of other animals. So that shit makes me sick, and I hate it. I think there's a cut of this on the disc where you could watch it without the animal mutilation. Fake human mutilation, I'm all for. Fake animal mutilation, I'm all for, in most cases, but not real. Devil's Due by Bettinelli, Olpin, and Gillett. This is actually the guys who would go on to do Ready or Not and Scream 5 and 6. So very good, talented, kinetic sort of filmmakers with kinetic cinematography and editing and action. It's just always moving, always dynamic. And Devil's Due, I've yet to see. with that preface, I've yet to see the movie that kind of put them on the map. It's not supposed to be great, but here we have Adam Green's Digging Up the Marrow. I think Adam Green is a decent horror filmmaker. He doesn't really impress me too much. I know a lot of people hold him up as one of the better of the last 20 years. I think his movies are pretty good. This one, I like. I'd give this one like a 3, 3.5. It really comes down to Ray Wise's performance here as an investigator trying to figure out sort of this Nightbreed-inspired underground world where all these quote-unquote freaks and deformed people end up, and they kind of have their own civilization, and they come up every once in a while, and some people see them, or they think they do. And it's an interesting found footage horror film, investigative sort of found footage film with Ray Wise in the lead role, so you can't go wrong. Europa Report. Europa is one of the moons of Venus or Jupiter, one of the moons of Jupiter, I want to say. It doesn't say on the back, but this one I remember being pretty cool. Ray Wise is the man. Yes, he's always good. Dead End. Digging up the marrow. He's always great. Europa Report is a pretty cool one about a team of astronauts who go to the moon of the Jupiter, I believe it is. It's this frozen moon, and they see some signs of life, and they get more than they bargained for, of course. It's cool. It's kind of inspired by Aliens, or I would say Aliens, probably, Aliens, but it's a found footage sort of style film. I don't remember it blowing me away, but there were some cool scenes that definitely stick with me. Found footage 3D. What a fun, deconstructive found footage film here. Obviously, with the generic title, this movie's all about deconstructing and poking fun and poking holes in the found footage genre, and it manages to do that while still scaring you. At least scared me. One of the things I love about found footage is it attempts to chip away the barrier between the audience and the screen, breaking that fourth wall and making you feel the scares on a more visceral and organic level. And this film does it really well while making you laugh and deconstructing the entire genre. It's really, really a very good found footage horror film. And it does have the 3D glasses there, which I think is funny. I won't be using those because my eyes bleed when I use those. Frankenstein's Army. What a fun, over-the-top, schlocky exploitation found footage horror film here. With these great designs. Frankenstein's Army. This takes place during World War II. Why they have beautiful HD cameras, it doesn't really matter. They had cameras then, but, you got to suspend your disbelief a little bit. I actually wish they shot this in black and white. That would have been so much cooler. I actually am going to watch this in black and white next time I watch it. It's something I've been wanting to do. Just drown out the color on the TV. The reason to see this movie is for its over-the-top creature design. You have some absolutely over-the-top and insane, inventive creature designs here. My favorite being the jet engine propeller head monster. That thing is ridiculous, and its introduction is awesome and super metal. This whole film is very metal, despite it being a period piece for World War II. Here we have The Gallows, which a lot of people absolutely hate. So I knew when I saw it at the Dollar Tree years ago, I had to pick it up. I actually now own The Gallows and Gallows 2, believe it or not. Not many people know The Gallows even got a sequel. Every school has its spirit. I like that tagline. It's pretty good. It looks horrible. If I'm being honest, it looks really bad on the back here. But found footage for me is a very delicate thing, and sometimes I love it. Sometimes, most of the time, I enjoy it. I doubt I'll hate Gallows unless it's just totally unbelievable. Here we have one of my favorites for sure of the genre, Grave Encounters. This is a classic found footage film. I think this is a great one. The cover's kind of cheesy and generic, but don't mind that. The film has so many creepy moments. It takes place in an insane asylum with this great lead character who has this paranormal activity show where he goes into these haunted places and he tries to find ghosts, etc., etc. He's a shyster, though. He knows it's all made up and he's just milking it for all it's worth. And then he, of course, finds this asylum that is more than he bargained for. And to watch his descent into madness and essentially his concession to the evil is devastating. And because he still tries to maintain his personality, his jokey kind of personality, as things just get worse and worse. He just can't believe it. And great ending, which definitely sticks with me. It's giving me goosebumps thinking about it now. Creepy as hell. And Grave Encounters 2, I don't remember as much from, if I'm being honest. I don't want to spoil anything. Oh, yeah, you know what? This is an interesting one. Found footage phenomena that killed many people believed it was just a movie. Film student Alex Wright is out to prove them wrong. So Alex, this kid is out to prove them that it proved to everybody that it was more than just a film, just a movie. And so it's kind of like the Human Centipede 2 kind of thing going on. But yeah, not bad. It has some moments, especially this moment, which is spoiled here on the box. Very creepy. The Vicious Brothers directed both of those, and they did a damn good job, especially on the first one. They nailed it. Greystone Park is one that I've yet to see. I've picked up a lot of these over the years and added them to the collection. It looks like Oliver Stone is in it. Very strange. I don't know what that's about. Oh, Sean Stone. Okay, so this is probably directed by Oliver Stone's son, I would imagine. Another one that takes place in a psychiatric hospital or a mental institution or an insane asylum or whatever you want to call it. I don't care what's politically correct. Sue me. Hangman, Jeremy Sisto, Kate Ashfield. Jeremy Sisto, I always enjoy watching. He was in, oh my God, May. He's in May as the lead male role. He's also in Dead and Breakfast, which is a fun one, Canadian horror film, Canadian actor. And this looks like it's cut from the cloth heavily. A big piece of cloth was cut from Paranormal Activity. And this looks pretty generic if I'm being honest, but for $3 at the Big Lots or Dollar General, whatever it is, I'm going to give it a shot. Has a name I like and a genre I love. Sam Stockman, Emily Plumtree, I don't know who those people are. Hollow, I hear decent things about this one. I don't know much about it, guys. Old monastery in a small remote village has been haunted by a local legend for centuries. Left in ruin and shrouded by the mystery of a dark spirit that wills young couples to suicide, the property has been avoided for years. Yeah, sounds right up my alley. Kind of invoking conjuring imagery there on the front. Thus was the time. Here we have one of the cooler found footage films that I have in my collection. I'm so glad to own this. This actually comes with, let's see. I thought this had something. Oh, yeah, the 2017 director's cut of the original film, which was the McPherson tape. This came out in 1989, and nobody talks about this. Everybody talks about Cannibal Holocaust and then jumps right over McPherson tape and the last broadcast to the Blair Witch for decent reason. McPherson tape and last broadcast are finding their footing, but you got to give it up to a film that tried it in 1989. I mean, this film came out in 89, and it's from my home state in Connecticut, which is even cooler. Northern Connecticut, it seems, so not quite where I grew up, but very cool. I love this film. I love its sort of homey feeling. You know, it's like a home video. It's literally a home video gone bad. You know, these guys are having a get-together. I think it's Christmas, or no, it's October 8th, whatever. Gathered to celebrate the 5th birthday of Michelle, and things start going weird when they see flashing lights outside, and then some of them go to figure out what's going on, and it turns into a kind of a siege situation. My only gripe with this, and I'm not sure how it played in the 80s, but I think the aliens are a little corny at points, unfortunately. They could have been shot a little bit better. They could have been designed a little bit better, but it was 1989, and these guys had zero budget. So I appreciate this for what it is. I love the atmosphere of this. Again, I want to stress, 1989, the coolest thing in the world to me, to find a found footage film released by a boutique label, AGFA, what's it, Draft House, right? Or whoever this was released by. Bleeding Skull, an American genre film. This is just such an awesome movie. Such a cool historical piece as well. Really is. All right. Jolly good. Thank you for coming back. Got to do chores when you got to do chores. And then a grilled cheese. Ooh, that sounds nice. Here we have 6-movie collection of Paranormal Activity. I think this has all of them. Is that right? Aren't there 6? Is that right? Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. But Paranormal Activity, I know it's missing some of the, there's a Japanese one, a couple other weird ones. But from the American collection, I think this is all of them. Maybe there's one more. So we have Paranormal Activity 1, which I think is a great found footage horror film. Nick B asks, you got the 80s movie Mutant with Wings? No, Mutant with Wings Hauser. Yes, I do. That one, isn't that a Pyun film? I know I have it, and I've seen it. I could imagine some scenes from it. Early 80s film, right? But it's been a long time. And then Shank says there's a Paranormal Activity Next of Kin. Ah, okay, Next of Kin. Is that number 7 then, Shanks? So I've yet to see that one. I don't own that one. I'd like to, though, because I'm a completionist. Paranormal Activity, I think, is a great found footage horror film. Really shows you what you do on a low budget. I think the film cost $10,000, which is more than I could ever conjure up for a movie. But hey, Oren Peli figured out a way to do it. Israeli-American filmmaker, I believe. And they made this great, at this point, classic horror film, I would say, Paranormal Activity, which really, I'd say there's a few films in the found footage genre that really mark a turning point in the genre, and I'd say Paranormal Activity in '09 certainly does so. I'd say it's the first since Blair Witch to do so, to kind of change the genre around. And Paranormal Activity 2, I remember enjoying, not as good as 1. 3, I remember liking more than 2. It's when things start to connect to the original films and in really cool, trippy, time travel-y ways. 4, I don't, now we're starting to get kind of, 4. Number 5, The Marked Ones, is interesting and very good. I really enjoyed it. Christopher Landon actually directs it. He would direct Freaky and Drop, I think he just did, and Happy Death Day 1 and 2. Marked Ones follows a Mexican-American family, so it ropes in some Mexican Christian mythology, if I dare say, with a church right across the street from these guys who were growing up in a low-income neighborhood, and things get real weird real quickly. It's a really interesting film. I think it's one of the better Paranormal Activities. I would probably say my favorite, or the first one is my favorite. Yeah, Shanks just said Marked Ones is the best one in his opinion, and I think I may agree with you. I think it's the best done. And the ending of the ending of the film is so cool, how it ties everything up in a bow. And this one, Phoenix Forgotten, I'm a huge sucker for found footage UFO films. I love them. They invoke a feeling, the good ones invoke a feeling that not many things do, sort of that 90s, The Truth Is Out There, X-Files sort of vibe. Not many films come close to achieving it, but some do. And that feeling was omnipresent in the 90s, and you would only know if you were there. It was right before the internet, right before a lot of our questions we could start to explore, and it was just such an exciting time to grow up the 90s. But the Phoenix Forgotten is a cool one about the Phoenix Lights. It actually blends some of the real footage, what I believe to be real footage of Phoenix Lights and mysterious lights above the sky. Some of the more credible UFO sightings, in my opinion, because so many people saw them. I've watched documentaries on this. It's such a creepy idea, like these lights in formation hovering over a massive American city. And the government of the town really just mocked it and made fun of it afterwards and didn't take people's testimony seriously. Not only testimony, but people had literal video from all different angles, and something happened that night. I don't know what. This film delves into it, follows a really cool main character, a couple cool main characters, trying to figure out what happened to the disappearance, what happened with one of them after they disappeared. Really creepy, great UFO found footage, guys. Here we have the Poughkeepsie tapes. I've told the story of me recommending this movie to my sister, and she called me about 15 minutes into the movie and just lambasted me. She was throwing vituperative vitriol at me. She was just hurling like, "Oh, I can't believe you like this. What is wrong with you? You're sick." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess so." It was a little too realistic for her, I guess, and she's pretty hardcore. And this one got under her skin, I think, with the kids stuff in the beginning, really bothered her. The kids getting kidnapped and whatnot really bugged her, and I can understand why. It's a really messed up film that is cruel, mean-spirited, and does not pull any punches, and has some of the creepiest found footage sequences of all time, and an ending that just makes you feel awful. Ugh, it's a terrible film. But it's a great film. It's a very effective found footage horror film, mockumentary style. Here we have the remake to REC, Record, Rec, this great classic Spanish film that I have talked about. I talked about when I did my box sets up there. I love Rec. Quarantine is a shameless ripoff, almost shot for shot. It's not bad. It's okay. It's cleaner than the original. It's more tidy, more American, less good. I thought it was all right. We watched this with some friends back in the day. We had a solid time. But if you've seen the original, which I had at the time, it's just a shot-for-shot remake, essentially. Here we have Spree, Joe Keery. Actually, I saw a trailer of this movie with my buddy Michael today. We were watching a couple movies, and he let me know that this kid was from Stranger Things. And I was like, wow, well, he did a really good job in Spree. He's the reason to watch it. He's sort of the center of the storm, the eye of the storm in this movie. And he has this great idea to have a popular YouTube channel where he traps people in his Uber. He drugs them. He fucks around with them. He's just a little psycho. And it starts to take its toll on him. This character I could do without. I thought she was obnoxious and pretentious and patronizing to the audience and just sort of woke and unnecessary. Just one of those do no wrong sort of characters. Not a final girl. Final girls are vulnerable. That's what makes them interesting, and they have to overcome their fears. This chick is just one note the entire time. Very boring to watch and very cringy. The Taking of Deborah Logan is... David Arquette is in Spree. Yes, he is. The Taking of Deborah Logan is one of the great found footage films of all time, in my opinion. Not many found footage films tackle serious issues. Some of them do, and the ones that do are excellent. But this one tackles Alzheimer's. Kind of plays with the idea of whether or not this woman is suffering from Alzheimer's, dementia, or is it demon possession, and sort of the crossover between those things and how people react, how people act while seized by them. This has one of the creepiest scenes. That's it right there. That shot right there is one of the most effective scenes in any horror movie that I have ever seen, and I mean that. It is fucked up. And so it follows this character who is it says right there, she's trying to get her PhD for an Alzheimer's sort of documentary and trying to figure out what is the cause and et cetera, et cetera. The film rests on her performance, the woman who plays Deborah Logan. She is absolutely incredible and creepy. And again, this has some scenes that you will never forget, so long as you live. Speaking of the internet, Jolly Good says, we have it back in the late 90s and early 2000s where you grew up. Yes, absolutely. Late 90s, early 2000s, I would argue it was a very different internet. Not as controlled, not as streamlined, but yeah, it was a better time, says my old ass. All right, this seat is absolutely killing me. Absolutely killing me. So, guys, give me a second. My ass has all sorts of indentions in it now. Would you like to see? I'm just kidding. Would you like to know more about Mike's indented ass? All right. Coming down here, I was so glad to pick this up when I did. I remember my buddy alerted me, and he said they're doing a very limited run of this, and I divvied up the $20 it cost to get this from Australia because I had a feeling it was going to be hard to find. And that actually has a film reel from the film, which is a film strip from the movie, which is really cool. And I'm not sure if this has been re-released. I'm not sure if this has gone down in price. This Blu-ray used to be over $100. I would be surprised if it was still up over $100. I'm sure it's been re-released. But you have a sloppily written in gold ink 179 there. They didn't do a very good job, which adds a little bit of character to it. They only made 1,000 of these, and I was one of the lucky few to get it. I actually want to look that up later. Or if you guys could, if you have access to the, well, obviously you have access to the internet. If you could look up to see how much this movie's going for these days, I'd appreciate it. That way I don't have to do it later. But I am curious. Here's a film that, when I watched it, I knew I was going to have an unpopular opinion. I had such a fun time watching this movie. It was like, it reminded me of the first time I watched Scream, if I'm being honest, because it brought the teen slasher to a new, fresh, found footage subgenre, which we now call screen life, or screen horror. That's the way I've seen it described, at least. This is a slasher film by the numbers, but it all takes place on this young woman's desktop, on her laptop. And it is so effective. Everything down to, like circling the cursor before you click something as if you're thinking, and all the little mannerisms that one would expect from internet chat culture are here and present, and just really impressive. And some of the deaths are pretty cool. For me, it's just about watching them die one by one and communicating via the screen life, screen horror format. Really enjoyed this movie. I like Dark Web even more. I thought I had Dark Web, but I guess I don't. I really, really would like a copy of Dark Web. If any of you have an extra copy of Dark Web, let me know. Let's see. Selling on Amazon, and it says from Umbrella Entertainment, but it has the OG cover art. Okay. Thank you. So it must be... Yeah, so that must be a re-release. Okay, so mine probably went down in value. Thanks, Shanks. I appreciate that. First YouTube experience, and I know you're talking about horror, which is my first YouTube experience. I can't really remember, if I'm being honest with you. I don't want to sidetrack. But I can't remember what my first YouTube experience was. Yeah, I can't say. Here we have VHS. Excuse me, there's hair in my mouth. VHS is a classic found footage film at this point that started an entire franchise of really entertaining anthology found footage films. It was genius because it was the first anthology found footage film that really broke through. I'm sure there were a couple before it, but this one's awesome and has some great sequences. I think VHS 2 is far better. It seems to be the only VHS I own on Blu-ray, which is kind of sad. I wish they'd release a box set or something. There's a new one coming out in October. I can't wait for that. There's, 8 of them now? These always entertain me. They always bring something new to the table. They always give me at least a story or two that I really love. VHS 2 being my favorite. It has Safe Haven, which is one of the greatest short horror films of all time, in my opinion, especially in the found footage genre. Here we have M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit. The Visit has all the cringiness of modern Shyamalan films, like with the little boy who is a rapper and a not good one to boot, and very cringy, very awful to watch. But, this has some really creepy moments, like the moment under the house, and the last 20 minutes are really creepy when the plot is revealed as to what the fuck is going on. And, really creepy film, but ruined by some tonally off character choices, we'll just say. And that is that. All right, so next, guys, we're moving on to Japanese horror. And then we've got South Korean, Hong Kong, and then we will do Italian on Thursday. All right, here's where I piss off a lot of people. Takashi Miike's quote-unquote masterpiece, but according to a lot of people, is Audition. Now, I am not a huge fan of Audition, at least the first time I watched it. I was very lost in its sort of cultural musings and it's the narrative that it was trying to tell. I had a feeling there was some sort of disconnection between me and the Japanese culture at the time. This was one of the first Japanese horror films I remember watching in my teens, and I just didn't get it. So after watching hundreds of Japanese horror films, studying the language, watching hundreds of anime, I think I will appreciate this more on second viewing. I remember some of the torture sequences towards the end. Torture stuff is not necessarily my cup of tea. Wasn't too hot on this one, guys, if I'm being honest, but I do need to watch it again to see where I sit. Let's see. Lucy didn't watch many found footage movies, but I definitely want to watch the McPherson tape. Yeah, the McPherson tape is a really cool one. Sounds like I sold you on it. Here we have a great atmospheric Italian horror-inspired, Fulci-inspired Japanese horror film by Toshiharu Ikeda, put out by Unearthed Classics here. And this is an Unearthed classic. Not many people talk about this great slasher. It's a Japanese giallo, essentially, is what it is. It is a fantastic film with a very rusty, decrepit, dilapidated atmosphere, setting, I should say, which creates this sort of hazy and muted, washed out colors. Great atmosphere to this film, and the kills are awesome. They kind of linger like Fulci's kills do. Very crunchy sound effects, very good gore, over-the-top gore, and some great deaths in this, great sequences. Very weird, great music too, has some really creepy tones, some melodies in there that stick with me. And I love the music, I love everything about this film. Evil Dead Trap is an awesome Japanese, like I said, giallo, really. Here we have Gemini. Gemini is a, what's his name? Oh, man. Shinya Tsukamoto, one of my favorite Japanese, or I should say my favorite directors of all time in the horror genre and the sci-fi genre. I just love him. He's known for Tetsuo the Iron Man and lots of other Tokyo Fist and Bullet Ballet, a lot of films that I absolutely love that I think are masterpieces. And this film here, Gemini, is a really good one. I remember enjoying this, but I also feel like I missed something the first time around because a lot of people say this is Shinya's best, but it is gothic horror. It's folk horror in a lot of ways too. And yeah, I really enjoyed this film. I need to rewatch it though. The Green Slime has really groovy 60s music. This film came out in 68 by Kinji Fukasaku, who also did Battle Royale. So he had been making genre films for a long frickin' time, 40 plus years, as well as a bunch of Yakuza films as well. He was really the one who put the Yakuza film on the map. The Green Slime, the cover is far better than the film, I won't lie. This one, G-rated, that's a good question. It is the 60s, so they didn't have probably even PG, I don't think, at that time. It is a lighthearted, little science fiction monster flick. Maybe it more so. Yeah, it's horror sci-fi, but it is very lighthearted. One of the funniest made in Japan, it says there. Funniest monster movies ever made. So it's got a tongue in its cheek. It kind of knows what it is with the goofy effects and everything. But like I said, this is a fun, groovy little late 60s sci-fi horror flick that doesn't take itself very seriously and is kind of parodical in its approach to sci-fi horror. And again, that cover just kicks my ass. It's awesome. Here we have some of the, what I call the modern phase of cyberpunk, Japanese cyberpunk cinema, which gets crazy and over the top. Yoshihiro Nishimura is the filmmaker that makes these wacky, over the top. I think he had something to do with, what is it? Like, yeah, Robo Geisha, Vampire Girl, Frankenstein Girl, those Tokyo Gore Police, those types of films. Let me see if it's the same filmmaker. Yeah, Yoshihiro Nishimura makes these crazy, over-the-top tokusatsu, kaiju-inspired cyberpunk body horror films. Got all that? They're nuts. I've actually yet to see Hell Driver. It looks just as insane as the rest of his films, so I'm sure I'll like it. Another one that's going to piss people off, Takashi Miike's Ichi the Killer, not my favorite Japanese filmmaker, I will tell you. Ichi the Killer, I don't remember much from. I remember the violence, the CG gore, which really turned me off. Shinya Tsukamoto is in this film, and I've yet to see it. I've not seen it on Blu-ray. The last time I watched it was in the, 20 plus years ago when I was in my teens. Orgies of Edo. This one I picked up actually at the flea market for like $5, which was a steal for an Arrow film at the flea market. A Japanese horror film from the 60s put out by Arrow at the flea market. Sign me up. This one is directed by Teruo Ishii, and Ishii, this is an anthology film, and Ishii was known for a lot of his horror films from the 60s, 70s. He was one of the premier filmmakers, and if I'm being honest, I haven't seen much of his films. I have seen many, if not most, of Kiyoshi Kurosawa's films, at least his horror films and his genre films. He has just such a unique style, such an innovative director, he paints such a picture, knows how to play with space very well. He shoots wide and gives the audience space to contemplate what is happening in those corners, those dark corners. Every once in a while, something emerges, but most of the time, nothing does. Just the ghosts of your imagination. And Kaido, or Pulse, honestly, it is a masterpiece. It speaks to a generation isolated by technology. And this came out in the year 01. Think about how much more isolated and technologically driven our lives are, and how important this film was at the time, with warning us to the evils of isolation that comes from technological progression. And I think we've never felt that sort of isolation more than the connected, quote-unquote, world that we live in now, which is more disconnected than ever. And Kaido tried to warn us about that, as every great filmmaker taps into that zeitgeist, that ether, and is able to produce something that really changes the genre and makes you think. And I think at the time, people didn't really know what this film was trying to say. And as time goes on, we understand more and more what Kiyoshi Kurosawa saw in and around him. So this film is incredible, a masterpiece, the greatest Japanese horror film, one of, as far as I'm concerned. First PG movie was Black Cauldron. That could be right. First Disney one, for sure, yeah. Well, definitely not the first PG one, but yeah, Disney, yes. Let's see. Moving on to Robo Geisha. Robo Geisha, again, is another one that I've yet to see. It's directed by, or at least by the same team. Let me see. Yeah, I can't tell who directed this one, but it's from that same, from the same mind as Machine Girl and Tokyo Gore Police, which I've yet to see. I know, isn't that crazy? I know. I'm cleaning up on all of the 90s and 80s Japanese horror stuff, and then I'm planned to get to the more of the 2000s stuff, or late 2000s, because this is mid to late 2000s. I've seen a lot of the early aughts stuff from Japan, but the late aughts I haven't really delved too deep into, so I will rectify that at some point. I feel like I've seen parts of this, or most of it. I remember the beginning pretty well, but it's been a long time. Here we have Vampire Girl versus Frankenstein Girl. I mean, with a title like that, you can't go wrong. This is, I believe, the same Nishimura, the same director as Tokyo Gore Police, and I've yet to see it, so there you go. And another one I've yet to see, X-Cross. I don't know much about this. Kenta Fukasaku, who is, I believe, the son of Kinji Fukasaku. Kenta directed Battle Royale 2, which nobody seems to like, but this one is supposed to be pretty interesting and pretty good. Don't know much about this. Again, it's from the late aughts. I haven't seen too much late aughts stuff from Japan, so... Misung Park. I could tell that you have a Korean name. Hopefully, I'm not incorrect about that. You might. I'm not sure where you live or where you are from, but it seems to me you have a Korean name. So, if you have any South Korean horror movies that you could recommend, please do, because I don't have too many and I haven't seen too many. I've seen more South Korean films of the revenge action brand or ilk. But the Korean horror is still something that I'm dabbling in. And I've seen Memento Mori. I really love that one. That one was excellent. And a couple others that I can't think of off the top of my head. But we'll talk about if we have them here. Here we have Mon Monsters. This one looks pretty fun. It looks like a horror comedy. I don't know much about this one. But it looks fun. And it is certainly from South Korea. I could tell by the names. And, yeah, it's a long one, so, you know. Oh, actually, you know what? No, I could tell by the names that this is Chinese, so I have it in the wrong spot. All right, my bad, guys. This one is actually a Chinese horror film. You could tell the names are slightly different. Obviously, the language is different. There's a lot of Kim Bong Seok. That is definitely a Korean name. I'm butchering it, of course. But here we have, like, Chi Tu and Xu Yao and Nian Xiu Li. Those are Chinese names, or Mandarin, in Mandarin. So, again, this is one that I haven't seen, but it looks like a Chinese horror comedy. Here we have a film by Ji Woon Kim. Is that right? Let's see. Of course, there's no English on this one. The Quiet Family has some extras in there. This is directed by the guy who did, man. It's so annoying. Sorry, guys, I'm blanking out here because it's not in English anywhere. Is it Ji Woon Kim or is it... I know it's not... Ji Woon Kim. It's not Chan Wook Park. Byung-Young Kim. Oh, man. I'm blanking, guys. Who did Snowpiercer? Jun Bong-ho. God damn it, I remembered it just when I pulled it out. Jun Bong-ho. This, I believe, is Jun Bong-ho's first film. Or, not his first, but one of his early films. This is a Horror comedy, it may also be Ji-woon Kim. I get the two mixed up. Forgive me. Not my native language, so I get the names conflated sometimes. And I haven't seen enough South Korean horror to remember. I know a lot of Japanese names because I'm studying Japanese and whatnot. But yeah, Quiet Family is a horror comedy. I don't know much about it, but it's this beautiful Nova release here out of 500. They do such good work over in South Korea. Wish I could afford more of them. Here we have Sector 7. Again, this is one I haven't seen. Looks like a fun sort of monster movie on a boat. Suddenly in the Dark. This is classic South Korean horror right here. From 1981, directed by Go Young-nam. And I've yet to see it, but it looks crazy. It looks like Evil Dead meets House. That shot right there reminds me of House. So hopefully this is inspired by House. That would be cool. I know it's erotic horror, so that's pretty neat. All right, so now we get to the only two South Korean Blu-rays, horror films I've seen on Blu-ray. Train to Busan, which everybody saw. This one broke through the mainstream and broke through into the West here. And I think this is a great zombie film. This is a fantastic zombie film. One might argue it's one of the better zombie films of the last decade or of the last 20 years, for that matter. It's absolutely fantastic. It takes place on a train. Has some sequences that just get your heart pumping where they have to fight their way to the front of the train. It is excellent and really well done, and also tells a great story about this dude and a young girl. And was his daughter? I can't exactly remember. But yeah, virus outbreak on a train. So fucking cool. I need to rewatch that. So cool, it's making me curse. Train to Busan sequel here, Peninsula, by the same director, Yeon Sang-ho. I believe it was the same director. A lot of people gave this one a hard time. I'm not exactly sure why. Probably because it deviated pretty heavily from the first film. It looks like this looks more like a crazy over-the-top action film. I don't know much about it, but you know what? I want to see it. I bet you I'll have some fun with it. And what I would say is probably the best South Korean horror film that I've seen, either Memento Mori or this one. The Wailing is really, really good and drenches you with South Korean folk horror, South Korean culture, religion, exorcisms, South Korean style exorcisms, directed by Na Hong-jin. This is just such an incredible South Korean horror film. It is an epic. This is like Exorcist level epicness when it comes to South Korean horror. Guys, you have to check this out. I love this movie. I have also seen Na Hong-jin's The Chaser. I love it's a how do you say? I don't want to say much. It is a bit of a possession film. But again, drenched in South Korean culture and lore. So it is just awesome. All right, moving on to Hong Kong, guys. Hong Kong/China. Most of these were released while it was still Hong Kong under British rule. So there is a difference in my opinion. That's a conversation for another day. Here we have Hex. Hex was a really interesting movie with some cool visuals. There's boobies all over the cover here because these are, for adults, and YouTube doesn't like people being adults. Let's see. Kwei Chi-hung. Yeah, Kwei Chi-hung directed a lot of stuff. He did, let's see, The Killer Snakes. Oh, no, he was known for The Killer Snakes. That's right. Okay, he was known for The Killer Snakes. Hex, if I'm not mistaken, Hex reminded me of Diabolique. I want to say it was Diabolique that this reminded me of. Similar kind of story about adultery and horror. This one leans more into the cultural horror than Diabolique does. But if I'm remembering correctly, this was a Chinese version of a classic French film. Damn, I'm slacking. Forgive me, guys. Human Lanterns, another one that I haven't seen in some time, but this movie is so much fun. Over the top, martial arts action. Shaw Brothers, amidst the long-held rivalry between two distinguished gentlemen, is an unbalanced and aggrieved craftsman of lanterns who seeks bloody retribution. So it really has the structure of a great Shaw Brothers action movie, but then it infuses the cultural horror and becomes just such a cool film. It says it is inspired by the slasher films of America and Hammer films from England, and I think that's spot on. This film comes out, what year? 1982. So adding to the list of great 1982 films, this one you can't go wrong with. Human Lanterns is a blast. One of my favorite Chinese horror films, if not my favorite, is this beautiful release of Nova, by Nova, of Mr. Vampire with the traditional Chinese artwork there from the original poster. I love it. It's fantastic. And I'll pull this out a little bit, guys, so you could see. Has a different cover there. Very cool. Shows one of the Jiangxi escaping from its tomb. Jiangxi are hopping vampires. What I love about foreign horror is to really entrench yourself in the culture to understand, as much as one can, how other cultures think about the world, think about horror, think about things, think about monsters. And from the Chinese perspective, their vampires hop. They put their arms out and they hop along. There's a lot of rules and lore that surrounds the Chinese vampire that differ from American vampire films, which makes it endlessly entertaining and interesting. This created a whole series of vampire films in China, Mr. Vampire films, some offshoots, some side films, but like 4 or 5 Mr. Vampire films of which I've yet to see. I've seen the second Mr. Vampire, which is super fun, and a couple of the offshoot ones with this character, which are great. But none of them top Mr. Vampire. It has the action. It has the horror. This is late 80s, or no, early, I want to say late 70s, was it? Or 1980. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily say. But that's okay. This is a classic Chinese horror film and one of the best of all time. That's why I knew I needed a premiere edition of it. The Oily Maniac. I love this. Shaw Brothers just doing straight up monster film. Ecological horror monster flick about this oily monster. I don't know anything about it, but it looks like it's right up my alley. Again, this one actually is directed by Meng Ho Hua, or Ho Meng Hua, who directed, Ho Meng Hua directed The Flying Guillotine, it says there, The Flying Guillotine, but he also directed the Mighty Peking Man. That's the one, the Mighty Peking Man, the kaiju film. So he was doing Chinese kaiju, he was doing Chinese monster movie here, and just super fun stuff, but that I'm sure I will have fun with. I've yet to see it, so. All right, let me check there we go. Lucy, I just answered your question there. Yeah, of course the British and Australia have horror movies. Of course they do. Absolutely. Jolly good. Let's see. Lucy, have I ever seen Oily Maniac? I just answered that. Nope, not yet. Misung Park, thank you for checking in. You take care now. Thank you for watching. I hope you got some cool new films to watch. Cool old films to watch. You know what I mean. Let's see. Lucy watched Mr. Vampire recently. It was very fun. I'm glad you enjoyed it. 85. Thank you. For some reason, I thought it was from the late 70s, but 85. That's right. So there you go. Awesome. Here's a cool one that I got to be honest, I haven't seen the whole thing. I watched it a couple months ago, and I passed out during the first act and kind of woke up periodically throughout the film, which created a really strange experience, I will say. But I liked what I saw. I loved the atmosphere of this, the drowned out colors, the sort of black and white and blue dreariness to this film. It looks like it harkens back to Mr. Vampire. I remember seeing a hopping vampire in this in the first act, and it looks like it gets into some martial arts goodness. I really want to sit down and watch this. I actually am going to do that soon. Rigor Mortis is the name of that one. Seeding of a Ghost. I don't think I've seen The Seeding of a Ghost yet. It's part of the Black Magic trilogy. I actually didn't know that. I have Black Magic 1. I think I have Black Magic 2 on DVD. But Seeding of a Ghost, I've yet to see. It says it's one of Hong Kong's goriest films. Sign me up. And Spooky Encounters of the, what's it called? Weird Kind or whatever. Just Spooky Encounters on this one. Fortune Star put this out. This is a really fun sci-fi or horror comedy, more comedy, slapstick comedy with Sammo Hung. This movie I had a hard time watching the first time because it had a lot of animal just straight animal executions, like they chop the head off of a chicken as it bleeds out on camera. I don't know what kind of savage beast humans would think that's okay. Obviously, they come from all cultures. I'm not singling out a culture. We used to do it in America. Italy was horrible with it. China is absolutely terrible with animal care on screen. So those things rubbed me the wrong way, but the action is excellent. The choreography, all the other horror stuff, despite the animal just outright executions, is bothersome to me. But it's an awesome action movie. You should definitely check it. Next time I watch it, I'll know when to close my eyes. All right, guys. Well, that is going to do it for this shorter live stream today. I'm going to talk about the rest of this stuff on Thursday, hopefully. Italian, kaiju, and silent horror. So that'll round out, that'll be a nice long one to end the 11-part Blu-ray horror overview. I want to thank all you guys for sticking in for so long. I appreciate you very much. You've stuck with me watching all of these parts. It means a lot to me. Thank you. If you're new to the channel and want to see more stuff like this, feel free to hit that subscribe button and the little bell for notifications. And if you've been watching my stuff, hit the bell for notifications to help me with the algorithm. I suck at the algorithm because I like to talk about films that I enjoy, that I think you will enjoy, and the algorithm isn't very friendly to that. So I hope I will see you guys on Thursday when I do the last horror Blu-ray live stream, and it might be a little earlier. We'll see. I'm not exactly sure, but I will see all you guys very, very soon. Bye, Lucy. Bye, Jolly Good. Thank you all for checking in. I appreciate it. Misung Park, thank you. Mr. Bob, Rosa, Mr. Ralph Rosa. Peace out, guys. I'll see you next time.